DB professionals, now you have understood application of filters also. Now the practical part comes up, right? Now the practical game begins, right? Till now it was basic concepts, you did functional analysis also practically, then after part 1, part 2, you gone through certain practical aspects also and certain theoretical aspects as well. And today also we have discussed this quantitative and qualitative filters. Now practical part, but before we start that particular part, we need to understand first that what type of databases are available in the market to undertake the external search analysis, right? So we need to understand that. Now as you can see from this window, I have categorized database into two scenarios, that is first is Indian database and the second is global database, and also I'll be discussing that how you should select the database. Let me just open the first part which says about the Indian database. Now, you know, when you are undertaking the transaction for, for which you are using the TNMM or RPM method, there are predominantly three databases which are available in India right now, right? There could be more also, but these are the three databases which we are using generally to benchmark the transactions under transactional net margin method. Now, it's not necessary that you should use all the three database to benchmark the transaction. You can use any one of the database. All are good database only, but there are differences in the cost of having license for this database, which you can check from their appropriate websites. I'm not giving any links to this websites. You can search it from Google and you'll get the websites of this database as well. And for pricing part, certain databases will disclose the pricing on their website only, and certain databases will tell you the pricing once when you put a RFQ or request for proposal or request for a quote on their website, or you connect with their sales team, right? This generally happens because they don't want to disclose the pricing factor. Now the first database is ICA Capitaline. So this ICI has tied up, or Kaplan has tied up with ICI to provide this database at a very lesser cost to the chartered accountants, so that they can utilize this database and they can extract the companies out of it, right? Extract the data out of it. So that is the first database, which is ICI's Kaplan. The second is Proves. So Proves also, once when so Proves has more number of companies compared to Capital Line, and that is where for detailed search analysis also people consultants do use Proves. But I understand that that Proves is comparatively higher price database. So which big firms or middle firms do use that? They have the license to use the Proves. They take the license to use the Proves. But the rising or growing firms, they will first take Capital Line and then after they can go ahead with Proves also. Proves is also a very good database. It gives good, amount. It has a very large number of companies compared to Capline and ASTP. So ASTP is also a database which from which you can get the data for benchmarking your transaction under TNM method. And ASTP has also high pricing as far as I know, but you need to check with the particular vendor that what pricing is applicable in your case and what is relevant to you. So these are the three database which are these are the three Indian database which can be used for undertaking TNMM or RPM analysis, right? Now, for particularly loans availed uh, in India, there is this, RBI issues a monthly ECB report of ECBs, which has been issued which has been availed by the Indian entities like Indian borrowers. So there's this report which is available from the RBI's website. I have just given you the screenshot of that particular report which is available on RBI website. You can search that part also, or probably I'll give you the link also for particular this RBI. So from where you can get your data. This is for May 23. So suppose if you are benchmarking a transaction for 23-24 financial year, then you can take all such data of ECB. So when you're benchmarking a loan transaction, wherein your tested party has taken this loan from the associated enterprise, then you can use this data, and particularly you can find those borrower companies in similar conditions if they have taken loan from third parties and for probably the same purpose, or for the same maturity. There are many filters which you can apply to this as well. and appropriately you can gather the data of that particular parties and the rate at which they must have taken the loan, because ultimately when you are benchmarking financial transaction, then you have to benchmark the interest rate also. So in this particular report you may not find interest rate. So once when you are when you're done with your quantitative aspects filtering this data, then for the comparable companies, you can check their financials and then appropriately you can get the interest rate. Now question may come up that what if that during the year you need to do a benchmarking of a financial transaction, and how will you ascertain the pricing, right? So as a part of advisory to you, that what amount of rate of interest should be charged between the related parties, like if tested party is availing that ECB, then what you can do is you can again go to the RBI's website. You can also access prior 3 years data, that is from prior 3 financial year data, that is from from starting from financial year 2019-20, then 2021 and 21-22, right? Or probably 2022 22-23 data also you can include that, and so particularly that particular 3 or 4 year data you can consider that, and appropriately you can arrive at arm's length interest rate by analyzing that particular data, then refining them, filtering out the transactions which cannot be compared, and then after you are coming with a final data set which has which has all the details like interest rate, type of security, then purpose as what is mentioned here, maturity period, amount in USD or probably in INR. So then sector of the borrower, etc. So these are all aspects which you can understand, and appropriately you can arrive at a comparable data set by analyzing that particular data which is available on RBI's website, right? I'll be placing link below this video in case if you want to access that ECB data. So generally once when you get that data, then you have to go to the borrowers, then you have to access the borrowers financials, and if you in case certain borrowers are disclosing, there is they will be disclosing the interest rate of interest, maturity period, etc., other details which will be matching with your particular transaction, and then you can obviously rely on that details and you can frame your own data set, and appropriately you can arrive at a comparable data set, right? So but this analysis would be required, and that is where I have said in my webinar also that why benchmarking of financial transactions have a good amount of fees compared to TNMM, because under TNMM you can get the data, but financial transactions it will take more time to undertake that particular analysis, and that is where you charge higher fees because more time is involved in that part. I hope that clarifies. Now this is for loans availed. Now there are also public domains from where you can fetch the data, like Google search engine you can use, where you can put your query and you can get a comparable transactions or comparable companies. So this happens when you are shorten of comparable. So practical case where it happens to me, because I use Kaplan database, I don't use these two database right now at this point of time. So in case I don't get that much amount of comparables, see, there's one principle under transfer pricing also, that if you have more comparables, it is good to have more comparables compared to only less comparables and analyzing that particular part of comparables. So for the broadening that search also, you are not getting, after broadening that search on the Capline database also, or probably of any of the database which you are using, you are not getting that amount of comparables because your tested parties or activities are a bit unique in nature. Nobody, it is not usually that people that the companies do undertake such type of operations. Then you may have to go ahead and get into a search for that particular comparables by putting on Google only itself. That, for example, if I want to get the entities which are engaged into manufacturing of crockery, melamine crockery, as we discussed in that last example also, then may have to Google out that companies. I have to just write that top Indian companies who are engaged in manufacturing melamine articles. So I'll get various website names and etc. company names. So I need to check their website again, and then again appropriately I can add also that type of comparables if they are matching my qualitative and they fit into my criteria of quantitative and qualitative aspects. They clear all that aspects, then after I can take them as also comparable, which we call generally additional comparables. So you can take that also. So you can appropriately you can put down that in your search process also. And then after you can also, so sometimes on e-commerce websites just such as Just Dial or Sulekha.com, I have found certain comparable companies which are private limited companies which have registered their businesses on this e-com website, and then after, I have checked their details, went to the company websites, downloaded their financials, and I probably assess if they are matching my comparable my tested parties operation, everything is matching, then I'll go ahead with that comparable, selecting of that particular company as comparable as well. So there are these public domains also where this type of transactions are available, where this type of companies are also available, and you can use that. And apart from that also, for loan transaction, so ECB report is there obviously, but in case, if in your case it's not ECB or any other type of, for debentures and etc., there are also other databases which we can use, which, probably I would prefer that you use a global database and you select your region as India rather than getting into this ECB and other parts, but try to functionally match the transaction or the companies, and then after you need to understand that on which database you need to perform the search analysis. All right, I'll meet you in the next video, where I'm going to discuss the overseas database. I hope you are enjoying this entire learning process. Be with me till entire day 6. You'll be able to understand the all practical aspects, how to undertake the practical search analysis also. We are getting to that part, but before that we are clearing certain concepts. I hope you are enjoying this entire learning sessions. I'll catch you in the next video. Thank you.